These moments are when I question how we got here. Say something. Never mind. It's jumping.
Hello, everybody. This is Tiffani.
What's up? This is Ariel.
And this is episode 31 of Grab Your Cup Podcast.
Ew, what's cracking? This is a terrible day. Let me start off with that.
Let's just give you the real rap raw.
Definitely had a car accident today.
That's terrible.
I'm fine.
That's important.
My car is gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just talk about the importance of putting salt down? Can we talk about the importance in the Chicago land area of putting salt down? Can we talk about how it's super underrated?
It's not seen nearly as valuable as it is, eh?
I got a problem with it. I want to write a letter. I don't know to who.
I don't think they're gonna get it.
They ain't gonna care.
Nah.
Let me tell you what they gonna care about. Oh, because you know it's coming. I'm busting windows and flattening tires around these parts. I'm just going up to people of importance, kids' schools.
No, not to the kids' school.
Yeah, they're gonna come to pick their kids up from school, and I'm gonna be standing right there like, hey. Sarah said she would like to have cookies for her little snack when she gets out of school. I would like you to salt more areas. I figured since we was all putting our demands in, I should put mine in. Good talk.
Right. They said that letter wasn't gonna get to you. I just wanted to talk to you in person.
I don't believe it. So, yeah, that happened. But here we are.
I'm glad. Look at your commitment. I'm glad you're okay.
So committed. I hate everybody. On my nerves.
This is the days that you just have to allow life to be stupid, accept it, and then move on.
I definitely put that on my page too. I was like, today was stupid. The end. That's all I have for y'all today. I didn't post nothing else. Hey, and I took a moment out of being angry and became grateful. Because you know how they always say, you know, in those moments, just start naming the things that you are grateful for.
Sure. And
I said, I'm grateful that I didn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful nobody else was hurt. I'm grateful that my car is not totaled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that I had sick time so that I could take off of work. Because, you know, some people ain't got them days and they're going to be like, well, you better get an Uber and get here because you ain't got no more days to burn. Right. I was grateful my son wasn't in the car with me. So I was like, you know what? It ain't that bad. I was grateful that it was in the area that it was and it wasn't a more populated area with a heavier traffic flow. I was like, you know, I'm just grateful that it happened, how it happened, where it happened, because it could have been way worse. So then I was like, girl, get it together, because somebody else didn't have such a great day today compared to what yours was. And I was like, I bet we in this thing. So I did not like it. Today was stupid, but I was definitely grateful that it didn't go as bad as it could have. But it's still stupid. You look at me, girl, because I'm telling you, on this 40th. Hey, you see this shoulder. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be lit, because
can't really invite that type of negative energy.
No, not at 40. Like, 40 way too close to 50.
Yeah.
50 way too close to 60. 60 way too close to 70. And I refuse to be one of those old, bitter black
I was just
women.
About to say, and bitter and 50 looks nasty. Okay?
Because I didn't see somebody. Do you ever see some of the old, bitter black ladies and you just look at them and be like,
have I seen them?
Elizabeth.
I know them.
Huh?
First and last name.
Look at you. Look at you. You're just angry. You know, that's why James don't come home no more. Huh? Because you're bitter. Look at you.
Right.
Huh? Always got something bad to say. You're just so negative,
right.
Elizabeth. I said.
Right. Something wrong again today.
On this here day, huh, Elizabeth? And I said, I don't want that type of negativity.
I love that she's consistently Elizabeth, never Lizzie.
Nuh-uh.
Lizzie got a little too much spunk and jazz.
Nuh-uh. Elizabeth is firm.
Yeah.
Stand on it. Elizabeth is firm. Okay? Stand on it. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, that's it. That's how my day went. My week has been okay.
Oh.
But then we got to the day and it was like, yo,
let's shake it up.
Oh, funny. Yesterday I went to orientation for my son because he's in 8th grade and next year he's a freshman in high school. So it was the high school orientation and I was just like, yo, I got a kid going to high school. And what was dope about it was all the Black families that were there. I was like, look at all these people whose kids going to high school, and it's a really good high school. I was like, and then the other part was it was a lot of people who were it wasn't a lot of single parents, and even if they aren't in a relationship like me and my son's father, if it come to my son, sir, have a seat next to me. Okay?
We showing up,
and it was a lot of mother and father with their kids. And I was just like, that's dope. I really like to see that. Not saying you can't do it by yourself. I'm saying that it works better when you don't. You fight me on it. I don't care. Judge your mama. But that's not how this was made up. There's supposed to be a yin and a yang. Mama is the yin, the daddy is the yang. You bring it together, and then there needs to be a male and female figure.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by mama and the daddy. I don't know if it was a stepdaddy. I don't know if it was a stepmama. I don't know who the hell was there. But it was a lot of male and female figures with the kids, and I enjoyed that a lot. And then the different programs they were talking about, my son was like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I said, good, because you was gonna do it anyway. But I mean,
right, I'm glad you got some interest
on the thing, because it makes it easier,
right?
when
so we don't have to fight about it.
Good. Because you're not gonna win. So then there was some parts of it where they're telling you what tools they have to help kids if they're struggling. And that was dope too, to acknowledge that having those tools is just as important as the curriculum that they have. So I really enjoyed that too. It was just a really good experience, and they're super involved, and he's ready for it. And I was like, and I told him, I said, let me tell you something. When I was in high school, I wish I had enjoyed it more than I did. Because I enjoyed the hell out of high school, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I could have. And I told him, I was like, I didn't go to the dances, and I didn't go to a lot of the functions, because to me, I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, but I really wish I would have, so I could have way more memories of my high school years. I said, because once it's gone, it's gone. And when you're an adult, ain't no going back, and you're gonna,
baby.
So you better enjoy it while you out there being a kid, and you can enjoy freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. I said, because college is going to be your first dose of being an adult. It is completely you are accountable and responsible for everything. I said, mommy's still having conferences with teachers in high school. I don't have no conferences in college. You're gonna be doing that thing by yourself. So I told him, I said, this is them getting you together and molding it. I said, and you need to know that you can be able to have a good time in school and still do everything you're supposed to do. So that was, I mean, it kind of made me feel like a good parent. You sometimes, and then it doesn't always have to be somebody looking at you and telling you like, oh, you did a good job. Sometimes it's just moments like that make you feel better. But yeah, that was dope.
That's cool. That makes me nervous.
Why?
Oh, high school. A kid in high school. I feel like my oldest is in 4th grade, and I think about when I was in 4th grade, and literally 4th through 8th, like, flashed for me. Like, I looked up and I was in 8th grade. It went quick after that point.
I remember significant details. I don't remember the years.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, if there was a fight that year, I remember. Sometimes I don't remember what year it was. I can say I can remember it.
I know my teachers. Like, I know I had a different main teacher, but I don't. It all blurs in hindsight. And I remember 8th grade because I was feeling myself. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to get out that thing. So I was like, I'm here. I've arrived. I know this year.
I definitely didn't. I don't remember I remember my teachers. I don't remember what year they were.
Oh, okay.
Like I can say, oh, I had Miss Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't remember what year had Miss Johnson, but I do remember like she was a grammar school teacher. She wasn't a high school teacher.
I remember My 6th grade teacher simply because she really didn't like me.
I don't know if that's a good read.
Well, I gotta remember because she made sure that I was. She defined our relationship, and I was just like, "Hey, you got way too much spice for me. Like this is personal, and I don't know you, shorty." Like,
did you refer to her as shorty? Because that could have been how we got here.
No, I didn't, but.
You should have. Hindsight.
In hindsight, I could have. But she was one of those bitter black women we were talking about.
Oh, God.
So that's what she used to say to me.
What?
Like, if I didn't turn a paper in, that has nothing to do with it. She'd be like, you think you're cute. Oh, well, man, I've never said that. Like, you think I'm cute.
You think I'm cute. Look.
Thanks.
Look. And so does my mama. That's why she said me like this.
You
Call
right.
her and tell her. Call her and tell her.
You right. So, yeah, that's funny. But,
yo, I had French class.
Mm-hmm.
Story time. So I had French class, and my mom came up for a parent-teacher conference through all the classes because I went to a language academy, and I can speak French. Comment allez-vous? Je m'appelle Ariel.
Hey.
But, she went to go talk to my teacher, and my mom was like, she doesn't really do anything French when she gets home. Like, there's no French workbook, there's no French paperwork. The teacher's like, we send homework home all the time. And my mom's like, well, I don't ever see her with it. And the teacher said to my mom, she sleeps a lot in this class. Listen, that's not the best part though, because she bright. She's like, she sleeps a lot in this class. And my mom was like, why is this the first time I'm hearing it? And the teacher says, because I was there, I mean, she's just so darn cute. So I just don't, she'll be fine. Look, my mom said, wake her up. Look, I said, she a hater.
Right.
This my first hater.
Clearly, you're not sure how these teams work. You're on mine.
My first hater was my mom. Okay? And just so, if you've never seen me before, I look exactly like my mother. Okay?
That's
just so
fun.
y'all know, I look exactly like my mom. I've been being told since I was little that I look exactly like my mother. And she was my first hater. And I was just like, fam, I definitely got to see in this class.
Right, you like, hey, that's
why we just can't let that live?
That's a win for us.
Where I'm going with this French, ma'am. Where I'm going. Where am I going?
She didn't know, so she said, wake up and figure it out. Figured it out. Not figured it out.
Listen.
Immediately.
So she go home and tell my daddy, she's sleeping in class. My daddy's like, it's French. And I'm like, my nigga.
He gets it.
My mom, on the other hand, is like, first of all, this school was not by tuition. So she was acting like they was paying money for this education. This was the neighborhood school. Simmer down. You don't even pay property taxes,
Listen,
ma'am.
if
if
I wake up and take you, I'm invested.
I walked to school every day. She did not pay property taxes. We lived in a, what are those called? A co-op. There was no, she just didn't want me to be great
education
in French because she definitely listen, she wasn't lying on me though. Like, I was definitely, let me tell you something, my sugar would be high when I got there, and then by French class it was low. And I needed to recharge, and I knew, look, let me tell you what I do know, from la bouche, you know what that means?
No.
Close your mouth. So whenever I was asked something, I would say, ferme la bouche. Because that was my favorite thing to say in French. Because you want to know who used to say that to me all the time? My teacher. Because I would just be talking all the time in class, but not in French. So she used to say to me all the time, close your mouth. So then I would be like, okay, meant to go take a nap. So I would go to sit at my desk and I close my mouth and my eyes.
That's hilarious. That's funny because that was my favorite thing to say in Spanish when I learned it.
Shut up.
Yeah, it was like, cállate la boca. That's awesome. I'm going to say that to somebody.
But let me say this, though. How beautiful does it sound? It sounds way better than shut up.
Yeah.
Ferme la bouche sounds way better than shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And
cállate la boca
sounds way better than shut up.
Mm-hmm.
English, you suck. Moral of the story. I mean, I'm here for you. But you gonna suck. Okay? Moral of the story.
What has been happening? My job wanted to play with my paycheck.
Ooh.
That's not fun.
You can play with my insurance. You can play with my vision. You can even play with this direct deposit. Oh, my bad. We got a check waiting for you, though. We couldn't direct deposit, but you can go pick up this check. But what you can't do is play with the money.
So, it got a little... My patience was a little tested when you... Especially when you get to that point in adulthood where you're, like, scheduling payments to come out on time and doing things. You're like, guess what? I know what's happening. Didn't happen. I was like, what?
They're like, psych your man.
I was like, let's go back to let's pull out the books and the calendars and recalculate. Let's talk to the bank, cover this overdraft because there's nothing there.
Let me tell you something. I have like separate accounts set up for everything. And if you throw off, most people who know me, I'm super like strict with that. Like everything is color coded. Mm-hmm. It's on strict days. They like set up the way it's supposed to be set up. You take a penny more than you were supposed to. You set up a domino effect that I'm liable to get in my car and come, because these buildings are usually in Michigan somewhere. I'm gonna drive to Michigan. Okay, y'all gonna go on lunch and I'm gonna be on somebody's hood of their car. Who's Steve? Huh? Who's Steve?
I got an email.
Got an email from Steve and I'm looking for him.
Steven Finances?
Yep, that's him. Which one of these Fords is his? Because I know he got like a Taurus and he clipped. Where he at? Huh?
Let me guess. He got an 08 Lexus. I need to find it.
Is it this pearl one with the 10 seats? Knew it. Tell Steve I'm here.
Looks like Steve drives this one. I felt it when I saw it.
Girl, every time I talk to them people, and then they're like, oh, it was an accident. Oh. You know what's so interesting? You don't accidentally call my phone every time I'm a day late or
Listen.
You didn't get you trying it. Okay?
Yeah. I feel like I passed the patient test. I'm not going to be able to do it too many more times in 2020, though. That's about a first and last for me.
So, this is the second week.
I don't got... Yeah, we've reached maximum capacity.
For the second week.
Can't do it no more in 2020.
Well...
It was a nice warning. I'm glad we figured out what my boundaries were. This is a limit. I can't push it no further. Run my money that I earned. I can't keep coming in. And when I don't get a check, y'all not gonna see me. That was fun. A personal goal for me was to get more connected to life outside of my bubble that has existed, and I haven't talked to anybody in so long. Like, y'all should see my call log list. It's just Ariel and my fiance. And it might be work. It might be my mom. Maybe. Missed calls. The bill collectors don't even call me no more. Like, nobody. Nobody.
Like, we already know.
She's not going to answer. She's not giving it. So, I had like a long catch up with my best friend. It was a lot of laughs. It felt really good. I felt like I was on the right path to reconnect to life. That was fun and exciting. I haven't done, like we said before, I haven't done the, like, let me put out here. I have this amazing planner, okay, that was at Aldi for $8. I'm a planner girl. I'm a planner journal girl. This $8 planner is gold. Like, this is the value of a $30 planner. Like, this is a good quality planner. And it really, if you use it as effectively as it can be used, really outlines for you to jot things down. Not just, like, the upcoming tasks, but definitely it's set up to keep you focused on your goals. It doesn't just have you, like, what's your goals? It even in your week has you write down things like what you're eating, what's your water intake,
Yes.
are you have you worked on that goal that you wrote down before, and then it does a recap per month. It's really dope. So I've been trying to commit to that. Ask you like, what book are you reading this month? What fear are you trying to conquer this month? What stuff? Listen, I'm all here for it.
Which planner is it?
It's a wellness planner.
Nice.
And I love it. And so I've been doing that, and I've already like set up doctor appointments that I haven't in like 2 years. I'm so proud of myself.
We definitely talked about it, and I'm sick of talking about you.
But
I'm glad that you for 2020, since you done ran out in the first 2 weeks of everything else, but you ran into this, huh?
I'm moving forward. And so that's been a great thing happening. My fiance is going to test my patients already in February. No, not February. In January, just second week here, and he is crazy and has decided he is going to just dive deep into veganism because this is Ariel's fault, actually. Let me say.
I knew you was about to say that.
Before I say it's her fault, it is. But before I say that, I will say we had talked about eating better, eating habit changes, lifestyle changes, adopting more vegan, vegetarian, thing that had come up before, and he actually ran into a classmate of his from his class reunion who I think she might be vegan or vegetarian herself, but she was dropping some gems that had stuck with him. So it was in his head.
Thank you.
Then comes Ariel, and she just
I've been here
shoveled up a grave and dumped him in there. And now I'm looking at him every day like
vegan. Y'all know I'm been vegan. Y'all know. So she out here. I need the accountability was one of these episodes. Okay?
Yeah, you need to be accountable that you did this. You did this. Take your role in all of this. And every day I'm looking at this and scratching my eyebrow. And I told him, you ask me another question about a grain, about a rice, about a bread, about a sprouted anything. Just call Ariel and figure it out. That's it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Thanks.
Well, what did he say?
I don't.
That side was so ignorant. You need to be a better person.
He gonna listen to this too. Hey, babe.
What up?
So
Tiffany's fiance. Hey, what up, Tiffany's fiance? Hey, and I'm proud of you. If nobody else says it, I'm proud of you. Now, she's a little bit of a hater today, like my mom was when I was younger. But guess what? It's me and you, fam. I believe in you.
So here's the thing. I am proud of him. It is a part of me.
That doesn't sound very proud of you.
It's a part of me that's like on the back end, like, this is cute. I like it. It's really cute. I respect your commitment. He dropped me off at work, and we had gotten coffee, and I thought about it, and I was like, oh, there's a coffee maker there. You can keep this coffee. I go into work. He's sitting in the car outside of work, and I'm like, why are you just sitting here? And he holds up the coffee, and I was like, no, you keep it. I got a coffee in here. He rolls down the window. It's definitely cream in here. I'm not gonna do it.
Come on through. I see you. It's the little things. You be diligent.
And I
said,
said,
I'm not doing that dairy because you're not gonna take me out one mucus cow nipple at a time.
And I said, you got to be kidding me.
Don't roll your eyes at me. I'm trying to make y'all great. Okay?
I'm trying to be great too.
He gonna be at this wedding.
You can't be licking the bone of a rib tip 3 weeks ago and now just disgusted by cream.
But yes, you can. Okay? You can do that.
Humble yourself. That's all I'm saying. Humble yourself, young man. Humble yourself. But I'm proud of him. Nonetheless,
this sounds like very proud banter.
I as well have I'm supporting him the best I can. I'm more vegetarian than vegan at this moment when I can be, because he won't eat anything else. Literally, we had to have a conversation that I was like, so the budget, just real quick. There's a spinach and mushroom pizza. I'm buying it. I'm not saying you gotta eat it. What I'm telling you is I don't know what you're going to eat.
That's so negative.
And yeah. And he definitely ate that pizza.
So I'm about to say something. It'll be a different episode. We ain't gonna get into it today, but leave it where it's at. So the guy that I'm dating, he's a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm vegan, and I say all the time, like, you should definitely be vegan. He's very adamant that is only going to be vegetarian, so stop asking him. So listen, what I'm saying is, he said, he was like, I think I'm doing really good at being a vegetarian. And I was like, actually you are, but I know what comes with the dairy, and the dairy is very bad for you. So, but what I'm saying is, baby steps.
Right.
He definitely told me he ain't taking my normal steps, but what I'm saying is, you, on the other hand, can use them as baby steps.
Yeah, I'm for a more vegan base than vegetarian, because I do think I don't need most of that. Yeah, I don't need the dairy. What I'm saying is, because we also want to bring our children on this journey.
Oh,
too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So in making those type of changes, like, easier to just get a cheese pizza than a pepperoni. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And start making those steps for all of us overall.
Absolutely.
And I know the benefits, and I think it's good, because I'm not against, like, I'm not on the opposite side, like, that's vegan, I don't want the vegan thing, I really need my milk and dairy products. No, I just want him to know that I think we're both already in the right path of being conscious of saying, hey, we recognize that we're eating things that just really aren't good for us. But also, I want him to just become more educated in this commitment, instead of just what he's, I think, thinking of it, because he really would eat an Impossible Burger all the time, and that's not it. You see what I'm saying?
Sure. Well, that's why I sent you that video.
And this is where the problem started, y'all. So you go ahead and tell yourself.
This is stupid. So first of all, anytime I come across anything that I feel is information that I would like to share with the people that I love, I do. So I was minding my business on Amazon Prime, and I typed in vegan, because they have like really good shows on there, like cooking shows, and like sometimes there's series on Amazon Prime about vegan and vegetarian. So I typed in vegan, and this show called The Invisible Vegan came on. It was a movie. It's like a documentary. And I started watching it, and in the middle of me watching it, I was like, oh my God, I have to share this with everybody I know. And of course, I sent it to Tiffani, and I sent it to a bunch of people, and I posted it on my page, and I hadn't even finished watching it, but the first like 25 minutes got me. So it's a movie a documentary that basically gives people of color a better understanding of being vegan. And they tackle so many topics in this movie. It's like, it's amazing how many topics they touch. It's only an hour and 24 minutes long, but in this hour and 24 minutes, I'll tell you, they get the business. And it's one of the first ones I've seen where it's based off of Black culture's understanding and need of better eating habits, better understanding, better sources, like everything we lack in our communities. So when I sent it, I was like, this is just good information, period. Apparently, when I sent it, Tiffany's fiance was like,
just rumbled my whole household. Just listen.
Was it or was it not good?
Oh, no. Now, the documentary is amazing, and I encourage anybody to watch that. I don't care if you are not thinking about going vegan at all. I think anybody who, even if you look at veganism and it just makes you kind of side eye, you should look at it. I personally have never, it was such a relatable approach. It didn't feel like, sometimes when you're watching documentaries and it just kind of feels like information's being spewed at you, it didn't flow like that. It came in a very conversational, relatable way. It felt like you were just having a conversation about the topic. And for me, because it touched on our roots of how our culture actually does connect with vegetarian veganism in a way that we don't talk about because we're so accustomed to what we know, as soul food and traditional African American type of palates. And when they break it down, like, well, if you really look at it, what are we seasoning these meats with? Herbs, plants, things to, we're actually more connected than what we think. But then it broke it down. I mean, from all the things I feel like I've ever heard negative about not eating meat, it was all addressed in a non
offensive way.
Yeah, in a flowing way. It being expensive, it being not culturally accepted, you being looked at, the stereotype that it's a white thing and it's not.
And that was addressed in there. And if you read the comments under the documentary, a lot of white people were offended by us addressing our truth.
That's, yeah.
And it is our truth. And it doesn't make us racist, because to us, to be a vegan, because of what we consider
our culture.
Our culture, but also we have food deserts where if you are not in a prominent area, you have to go miles to get to a grocery store. To be a vegan, you literally have to be able to get to a grocery store and get fresh fruits and vegetables all the time, because being a vegan means you only eat things that grow.
Right.
So if it does not grow, if it's processed, you cannot have it. So for a lot of Black people, they titled it as something that white people do because it was predominantly white people who did it, because it was accessible to them.
Right.
And because it wasn't an option to us, pig feet and pork chops and burgers and french fries and flaming hots and onion rings and all those processed things.
You can even see now in the areas that you do go in that, thankfully to stores like Aldi and thankfully to, truthfully, the popularity of being vegan and vegetarian now, you'll see a slimmer of a section even in your local Jewel that has like a Beyond Meat burger, those type of things you'll see. But you can see when you get outside of those territories, how grand the options become.
Absolutely.
The Jewel downtown is not gonna look like my Jewel when it comes to the options that exist in in that area. But they tackle that. They tackle health changes, weight things, diseases, just the actual taste that is just stereotypically means nasty, and lacking taste when you think of it. And all the ways they unpacked it and broke it down from the angle of just trying to educate it's a really good documentary.
What's so interesting is that, like, to tie that all together, it's like if you were to take a piece of chicken, not put no seasoning on it, and then eat it, first of all, you would call that white chicken because you say they don't season. But two, you wouldn't want to eat the chicken because it doesn't have any flavor. But like you were saying, and they said in the documentary, you're always adding herbs to it so that something tastes like a plant. You're like when you're adding pepper, when you're adding parsley, cilantro, when you're adding lime, when you're adding any Italian herbs or any Cajun flavoring, those are herbs that come from plants. Cayenne pepper, all of that you are trying to get the taste of onto a meat. That idea is so far in people's heads that they're like, no, I really want the chicken though. But you don't want to eat the chicken unless it tastes like the herbs.
Yeah, you're not taking that plain chicken.
No, you're not. Like if you had a steak, if you had a burger, You know, even when you eat a burger, even when you eat tacos, you taking meat and you're adding lettuce into it. Like, you're not just eating meat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when you eat a steak, you at least put salt and pepper on it before you cook it. All of it, you're putting some type of seasoning on it, and people think, no, I'm just enhancing the flavor of the chicken. No, because chicken don't taste like salt or pepper.
Right.
So you can't enhance the taste
right.
of, like, that's not how that works. But if that's what you want to keep telling yourself, cool. It's still crazy. And I have these conversations with people all the time about being a vegan because it seems to be 1, unattainable, 2, stupid, and 3, pointless. That's what people look at it as.
When you saw all the things that were touched on in there, how relatable was it for you, having been on this journey for some time now, to look at it and be like, yep, that's kind of how people talk about it? Like, was it
all of it? I related to everything. Even there's one part in there when this girl says, when I tell people about being a vegan, I'm not trying to convince you to be one.
Right.
I'm telling you all the benefits of it. I'm already a vegan.
Right.
If you don't want to be one, that's fine.
Right.
I don't care. But I do know that I'm doing a disservice to somebody if I don't give them the information and they make an educated decision for themselves for what they want to do. Because when you find out that your diet has decided your health,
right,
that's what most people don't understand. When you go to the doctor's office, the first thing they ask you is, what have you been eating? Mm-hmm. If something's wrong with you, they ask you, what have you been eating and what have you changed? Right. So sometimes when your kids are sick, they give you a sheet and you have to fill it out of what they eat throughout the week. If they have something wrong with them with going to the bathroom, or if they've been throwing up, or whatever the case may be, what have them be eat? And it's because your diet dictates your health. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't want it. There's so many illnesses and diseases that get reversed just by changing your diet. Mm-hmm. I originally changed my diet and went vegan for health reasons. One, I used to work a 10-hour shift. I used to work from 8 to 6 p.m. I live an hour away from my home, which means I would leave at 7 o'clock in the morning to be at work by 8 o'clock. And then when I got off at 6 p.m., I didn't get home till a little after 7. And I'm still somebody's mother. So I would drop my son off to school. I would get home. When I got home, I'm doing homework. I'm cooking dinner. I'm trying to be a mom. And I'm going to sleep, and I'm doing it all over again. There was no time for me to exercise or be as diligent as I wanted to be. As some people, they can work out in the morning because they don't got to be at work until 9, and they get off at 5, and they don't live an hour away. They live 30 minutes, so they get home by like 5:30. That's still reasonable. You can come home, put something on the stove, and go to the gym, or you can actually go to the gym before you go to work. I don't have that option. Right. And I was like, if I want to be healthy, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do. So what I decided to do was look up, how do you be healthy if you ain't got no time? And what it says is 80% of your health comes from what you eat, and 20% comes from how you work out. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, well, let me work on the 80% then. Mm-hmm. Cool. So then I started doing research on that. And when I originally became vegan, I was high alkaline vegan. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people know Dr. Sebi, and he was actually the doctor that Left Eye from TLC was going to see. And if you ever seen her ever talk about it, about how he wanted us to get to our alkaline level and how we can get to our healthiest point in life. So when I originally started, I was like, bet, I'm going to do that because I'm trying to get to my healthiest point in life because I can't do no jumping jacks and sit-ups like I'm supposed to. So let's do that. Right. When I did, I instantly felt better. Now, let me be clear. It took me 6 tries to become a vegan because you have to make a decision. That is the key to it. I don't know what else to tell y'all. You have to choose. What I had to decide was my life was more important than a burger. Right. My life was more important than a piece of chicken. And I saw a lot of people in my family who had to have hip replacements. My mother has had both her hips replaced. My grandmother, my aunts. That's just what happens. We have big hips in my family. We got big legs. And that is a prominent thing in my family. But so is being heavy. But there's a difference between being heavy and being thick. And a lot of people is heavy and they think they thick, and it's not the same. Because if you was no longer fat, you would no longer be considered thick, because those curves that you have are because of the extra weight that you have on you. Not because you are curvy, but because you are heavier. Now,
did you see the clip of that lady? I can't think of her name. She's known for fitness and health, and she made that comment about the singer Lizzo.
No, I didn't.
She made the statement, and they were talking about celebrating women's bodies and variations of bodies, and it was taken offensively because she said, but why are we focused on her body? Period, is what she was saying. Why is her body what's celebrated versus her craft? Why aren't we focused on her artistry? Why is it a celebration or not of that? She said, because we won't want to celebrate when she has diabetes.
Well,
and everybody was outraged, and I was like,
she right though.
She's not like, I get why you don't want to, you are trying to take that offensively, but I honestly, when I saw it, don't think she was being offensive.
Well, you know what? But that's like, okay, so when Big Luther and Little Luther, okay, when we talk about Missy Elliott, right? When you talk about what's her name, Monique, when you talk about people who were large, then they got smaller, everybody's like, oh my God, you look amazing, that's awesome. But that's to assume, with that much emphasis and oomph behind it, that they didn't look amazing when they were heavier. No, you knew that they didn't look healthy.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
And it's okay to have realistic conversations. You know what happens when a person is big, and you don't get to decide what level of big is uncomfortable to talk about. Meaning, when you see a person who's on my 600 pounds, you look at them and say, okay, like if Lizzo was 600 pounds and she had a flute, everybody wouldn't be like, I mean, but she has a flute though.
I think we get too sensitive when we want to choose to force ignorance on ourselves. Like when we know better, we're in this era where there's so much information that's accessible. It's so easy to find out things and get information and make yourself knowledgeable. But we try to force ourselves to be ignorant. Like we don't know certain things. That wasn't offensive. You're talking to a health and fitness guru. She does health and fitness. She's speaking from her angle, her expertise, and her truth. She didn't say that girl shouldn't love who she is. She's saying,
why can't she be healthy and love who she is?
Yeah.
Like, because that's not health. There's no way you're going to tell me that her heart isn't working harder, that her lungs aren't working harder, that her arteries aren't working, that her knees and her joints ain't working harder for all the stuff that she doing. You can't tell me that her body is not working harder. Listen, Rick Ross had 6 seizures, right? And he got some people to help him so that he's not in the ground. And now he's smaller, and he tells you the reason he got smaller was for health reasons. Why is that looked at negatively when that lady says the same thing before it has happened to Lizzo, is what she's saying. She's not, I'm not putting that on her. But the odds of something happening to her health-wise are greater because of it.
Right.
And here's another thing. People assume because you're skinny that you're healthy.
Yes.
That does not mean you're healthy. There's a bunch of little girls walking around right now that all they eat is McDonald's and Flaming Hots every day. Yeah. And they are not healthy. And the only reason why these little boys walking around here and they got their little fake Gucci belts on and they pelly, shout out Westside. And they walking around smoking a Black and Milds, and they not healthy, but they got a 6-pack. But you're 20,
right?
your body's gonna get, or that could just be your body, your makeup, right? Because some people just are leaner people. That is their makeup. That does not mean they're healthy.
And it always, the tables always turn. I mean, I feel like I'm at this space now because that was my decision anyway for this year. It's what I said. You know, I do have specific goals for myself in different areas of my life, but when it comes to my health, I've just had issues that I don't like not knowing my body. And I'm just not okay with not knowing my body anymore and what happens and what triggered it and not being able to point the finger. After I had my son, there were so many issues I started having that I've never experienced before. Never. Where I'm a cheese fanatic. I love cheese. Mm-hmm. But I started seeing the correlation that I was like, okay, yeah, your stomach is in knots for hours after you eat pizza. Right. We got to look at that. Because, no, you were fine yesterday when you didn't have that, and that's what you had today. So I got to think that might be it. You know, I can't do it the same. I don't really drink milk anyway. If I am going to drink milk or different things, I do like almond milk, or I'm not really having milk like that. I changed the percentage. I grew up in a 2% household. Yeah. So I don't have to do 2% myself. It could be 1 or skim if it is milk. So those type of things that me starting to see, I'm a foodie and I feel like it's an injustice to myself to not act like I don't know how to cook for one. And I don't.
Because you definitely know how to cook.
And I don't know, so I want to be more intentional. Let me not just cook for it to taste good, because I know I can do that. I'm in that bag. Let me make what tastes good that my body also needs.
Here's the problem. It's all mental. Mm-hmm. Every part of it. You make a choice and you decide, I'm going to do this. Right. And then you have to educate yourself. So people have decided what the answer is without even looking into it. People will say stupid stuff like, but then you're, like you said, that the girl was saying how her hair fell out.
Yeah, I was
because she went vegan. And I'm like, because you didn't look into it, you need protein. So no, you did not get protein from the chicken that you were eating. But ma'am, there's a million other ways you could have got protein through your beans, through your lentils, through chickpea, there's a million ways you could have got protein and you chose not to. You ate a salad every day. That was on you. Right. If you're going to do anything, you do the research. Nobody gets to drive a car without going through a class and understanding what the responsibility is and how that works. You don't get to do anything without some type of knowledge of what it consists of. So being a vegan, yes, it means you don't eat anything that grows, but you also need to know you need vitamin C, you need vitamin D, you need vitamin K, you need B12, you need all these different vitamins that come from plants, but you need to know which plants you need to eat. You need to know how much of it you need to be eating. You need to know what part of the body it affects. You don't if you are a person who doesn't eat food, meaning you have 2 vegetables and 3 fruits that you eat, cut it out. Just go ahead and stick with cheeseburgers because you're going to have a terrible time and you're going to have the same outcome. Now, if you don't have a problem trying new things and figuring things out, welcome. Right. But it's one of those things where you have to do the work and you have to make a decision in your head. And when I tell people about being a vegan all the time, they're like, oh, that's rough. And I'm like, nah, it's really just a decision.
So I'm saying, last year I started off and I was doing vegetarian, vegan last year. And even so far, I'm not feeling like I'm making really that much of change because I kind of knew and I know, and I'm more connected to the purpose of why. But what I'm saying is I just want to be more conscious, and I think we have to do better to be more responsible, because even if you are eating chicken, you still should know what that's doing in your diet. You know what I'm saying? You still need to know what your body needs, and if it needs protein, and stop. That doesn't mean you get to get an 8-piece and eat it by yourself, and you be like, because I had protein. That's not what we're doing. I need more. So when I at work, they order out a lot, and one of my coworkers, she was talking about trying to kind of change her eating too. And they order from this Chinese hibachi restaurant, Chai Tong, a lot. And they were ordering, and someone said like, oh, you can't have anything, right, because of your diet. And one of my coworkers was like, what diet? And I was like, I'm not eating meat. And she was like, you're not eating meat? You gotta have some meat. You gotta do something. You should do just seafood. You should have seafood. Or, yeah, do fish. You're not gonna have fish? And I was like...
Because fish does what?
And so I was like, no.
Because you get protein from the fish?
And then she came back and said, well, wait, you're going to have some meat. Cause where you going to get your protein from? And I was like, I like beans a lot. And there's other ways. And she was like, oh, yeah, beans do have protein. Mm.
You can get it from almost everything you eat.
The point is...
Shut up and look into it.
No. It was a blanket statement said factually. And a lot of times we stay in those pockets to not have to learn anything more. Just to not just honestly say you have an opinion of the way you think it should be because that's where you are. You get to be. You don't got to say protein's the reason. Like, you don't got to do that. Just say, that's what I want to do. That's perfectly fine. And I think people get offended and it becomes so outlandish. And for me, culturally, that was what I got away from that documentary that I really liked the most. Mm-hmm. I felt like addressing that stigma culturally because there was a point where she said, oh, I didn't know it didn't make me black to
be a vegan.
Right.
That's what I've had that happen to me before.
Yeah, there's like... They're
like, so what do you do at barbecues and at Thanksgiving? And I'm like, I eat what I can and I don't eat what I can't. And so Tiffani will tell y'all, she keep a bag of food with her.
Oh, baby.
Listen, I keep a bag of food with me and I know where I'm going before. Y'all don't know where y'all going before you get there?
Well, here's the thing. I think we as a society are too invested in what other people do. For sure. And what our input should be to other people's decision. Like you said, I'm where I am. You don't want to be over here?
Right.
Got nothing to do with me.
Not a thing.
I'm going to still be where I'm at.
Right.
And I think people think if you talk about your lifestyle changes, mm-hmm. you're immediately judging theirs.
Listen, one of my favorite things was rib tips. Okay? You not going to hear nothing about me because I know why you enjoy them.
Right.
But I know why I don't eat them.
Right.
That's the difference between us. I know why you enjoy them, but I know why I don't eat them.
Right.
You're allowing why you to enjoy them to trump why you shouldn't be eating them. Mm-hmm. And that's your decision.
Right.
That's cool. And then people, and they feel like they're taking a jab at you when they say something like, oh, you're going to eat some celery? No. Why would I go eat a piece of celery? Who goes and just eats a piece of celery? What are you talking about? And then I'm like, nah. But here's the other thing. I'm definitely 39 and I look like I'm 27. What else do you want to talk about?
But even in that jab, and what would be wrong if I didn't want to go eat some celery?
Nothing. Or bell pepper, because girl, I love me some bell peppers and some hummus. Come on.
So I think it's been really exciting to me, and even in our friendship of me experiencing things that I probably wouldn't have been having that type of insight. And I want to just learn more. Like, I want to learn more about, I've been more intentional of following pages that kind of give those content. Breakdown mm-hmm. of what the proteins are, what flax seeds do, and what those fiber different
and stuff like that.
Yeah, because my point is, no meat or not, I don't know where I'm getting it. I'm just not as connected as I would like to be personally to what's going in my body, because I do not want to wait to have to walk into a doctor's office for them to tell me what I got to change.
And it has to be drastic and immediate. Usually when a doctor says it, oh, we got to do this thing right now. And now the other part is, like, it's so funny to me, like, when people are complaining about it, like maybe men mm-hmm. complain about it, like, I'm gonna lose my size or I'm gonna do this, and I was like, elephants, giraffes, and gorillas all vegan, but
go off.
You think I'm not gonna eat as much as a gorilla, I'm not gonna eat as much as a giraffe or elephant. Well, first of all, they eat that much because they're so much bigger than you, first of all. Second of all, Gorillas are like 500 pounds. Elephants are like 800 pounds. Like, what are you? Of course, they eat 7 tons of food. They're huge. It's kind of like a cow.
Right.
He eats a lot of grass because it's a damn cow.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? They still getting it from plants because that's where protein comes from. Protein comes from plants. Vitamin D comes from the sun. I don't know what to tell you. Now listen, if you don't want to do the research, don't do the research. But don't come to me like you got the answer to a question that you ain't even looked it up and read nothing about it. Like when I hear people talk and I give them an answer, I think it's the most interesting to me for people who have a rebuttal just because.
You know what's interesting to me, especially in our community as African Americans, there's not too many people I know that haven't lost someone to cancer,
high blood pressure,
diabetes, all types of health
respiratory issues, which comes from dairy because it creates mucus, and mucus is the core of all diseases. Now, people don't want to hear that. And that's fine. It's still a fact. The same way when you go to the doctor's office, they'll definitely tell you milk doesn't create mucus. But most of the time when people's kids are sick, they will not give them milk because you know it creates more mucus.
They specifically tell you to not drink milk.
Because it creates more mucus. It creates mucus because that's what dairy does. Also, there's usually mucus in the milk that you're getting because that's what comes from the cows. Listen, I don't care how organic your milk is.
Right.
It's coming out of a cow's titty. Okay? Period. Got it? Okay. So, if you wouldn't breastfeed your child on another woman's titty, why would you drink a cow's milk? That's your business. Whatever. Once you figure out these things and you're like, okay, so before we didn't have another option.
Right.
And you didn't have a solution, but now that you have another option, you don't have an excuse. And the other part is that processed sugars, they break everything down in your body, and that's what cancer feeds off of. Cancer feeds off of sugar. So once you have these processed sugars in your body starts to break down because it has to fight to get your pH level back, and your pH level is what keeps your body and your blood flowing the way it's supposed to. I'm telling y'all this stuff, but this is all stuff I had to research and read books, and I had to listen to audiobooks, and I had to read books, and I had to look up stuff, and I had to watch doctors do different type of speeches and stuff on it because I wanted to understand more than don't eat meat and dairy. I needed to understand why that was said. What are the effects of it?
Right.
And then you need to know what it is you need to add and subtract. What it is you need to have more of. There,
because aren't there some people that because there's just some people that if you're not aware or connected to your own personal needs in your diet, you could be making certain changes and still not giving your body what it needs.
Absolutely.
Like you might be getting your protein, you might be getting your vitamins, but you don't have fiber in certain ways, or
you don't have iron. That's important also. You need iron, you need fiber, you need B12, you need vitamin K, you need vitamin D. Black people don't know this, but vitamin D is extremely important in Black people because of our melanin. Vitamin D is harder for us to take in because of our melanin, so we get it from the sun, right? Well, a white person can stand out in the sun for 30 minutes and absorb everything that they need for like a week. A Black person stands in the sun for 30 minutes and they're about at like 75%. You're going to need like an hour and 15 minutes the darker your skin is because it keeps you from receiving what it is that you need, the nourishment you need of the vitamin D from the sun. Now, you will receive it, but it won't as quickly, right? But vitamin D helps with so many parts of the body. And now it's become standard that doctors have to, when they give you blood tests, vitamin D has to be tested. And one time I got checked. My brother is the reason why I got checked for vitamin D. And this was before I became a vegan. He went to the doctor because he was having back pains. His doctor tested him for vitamin D. Sure enough, his vitamin D was like at a 7. We're supposed to be at like a 17. So he had to start taking a heavy dose of vitamin D to get his numbers up. If you travel a lot or if you're outside a lot, you get vitamin D. So as kids, we don't worry about it because, your mom and daddy going to tell you you're going to go outside. Or you play sports. or you walk home from school, whatever the case may be. But when you become older, you work in a building, you drive a car, you go into restaurants, you sit in the house. When you are outside gardening, you wear a hat. Instead of just putting on the sunscreen that you need to be able to absorb the sun that you need. So then people are like, well, I can't be in the sun because I'll get skin cancer. But it's not the same thing. Nobody's telling you to go suntan.
Right.
Nobody's telling you to go cook in the sun. But you have to let the sun touch your skin. Water, fresh air, and the sun are the best things to cure anything that you have wrong with you. And eating right. You have to eat right. And if you don't, you're going to be upset with the outcome, because now you're in a doctor's office and they trying to give you all these different drugs. And when I went high alkaline vegan, the reason I came across it was because this is the diet that they put cancer patients on. And it is so helpful because it helps the body create the cells that it needs. It rejuvenates the body's cells that it needs to fight off. And it also depletes you of the sugar that you've been putting in there from processed sugars, because as a vegan, you no longer have processed sugars.
I think that's the problem, and I think that's the mental connection to it. I think as people, we have to be more proactive to doing what we need to do for our needs. And we get into this state of emergency because there's not many people by experience, because you've seen it, that wouldn't walk into a doctor's office and be told they needed to change their diet and immediately jump on board. And so why do you have to wait to get to that point if you are now privy to have knowledge to be able to make changes? And here's the thing, for you, if that's not what you want to do, that doesn't necessarily have to mean don't eat meat. That might mean making substitutes and eating leaner and eating less portions and making still some changes that benefit you ultimately, because you're knowledgeable that what this overconsumption can do to you. Not just weight, because I think people immediately go to weight
when they think vegan.
Makes me or making any diet changes. It's a weight factor. Not just weight, health. Because those apparent healths that we ignore, like you said, or like she said in a documentary, she spoke on as women having yeast infection and the frequency that she was having yeast
or having an odor.
Exactly, and how that changed. This was a small girl, so it wasn't a weight thing. It was a health thing.
Right.
And that she was able to see health changes. And I think you shouldn't have to wait until there's so often my peers that we're experiencing back pains and spasms and different things.
Or you can't sleep.
Yeah, and you're not able
or you're always tired. You can't sleep and you're always tired.
And you can't really pinpoint it. So like, where is this coming from?
That was the first thing I noticed the first week, that I would wake up before my alarm clock went off. That I went to sleep without a problem and I could wake up before my alarm clock went off. Or I could stay up late and still wake up before my alarm clock went off, and woke up and I was okay to stay awake during the whole day. I didn't need to take a nap because let me tell you, she was tired. It was rough. The other thing that I just want people to understand is it's a health thing, but if somebody told you that your child could not eat another cherry, you would make sure that your child never ate a cherry. If they told you your child can't eat another peanut, or they was going to have a reaction and they was going to die, you wouldn't eat another peanut. You wouldn't let them. You would be over there like a ninja blocking everything. Right?
Like,
right?
What?
Wow. But when it comes to you and they're telling you this causes high blood pressure, this causes diabetes, let me tell you, I have helped reverse at least 3 people's diabetes to the point where they were pre-diabetic. And they told them, okay, you got like maybe 6 months and you're going to be on that insulin. And I've helped people change their eating habit. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy for them. But you have to put it in terms that they understand. You are going to die. Period. I'm not telling you you're going to die. Your doctor told you that you're going to die. I'm just reiterating it. So every time you get ready to put that in your mouth, say to yourself, this could be the fork that kills me. This could be the drink that kills me. This could be the piece of cheese that kills me. This could be the pork chop that kills me. Ooh, I love me some pot roast. Bet. Hopefully they serve it at your funeral. That type of conversation has to go on in your head for you to want it. Because the crazy part is, after you do it for 30 days or you do it for a month, you're fine. After you do it for 3 months, you're fine. And the world we live in right now, being a vegan is so easy.
Yeah.
Because it's so accessible. And when I say accessible, I'm talking about the foods, not the substitutes that everybody, like, substitutes are cool. But when I became a vegan, I didn't want to use not a substitute because I didn't want to have a crutch when I began.
Right.
Like, to me, if I use a substitute, it's a treat. Like, I'm like, let me treat myself real quick to this Beyond Meat burger.
Right.
And I had to understand why soy meat wasn't good. I had to understand why soybeans were always used. I had to figure out what gluten was. I had to figure out all these different things because everything had a category and everything had a place. And if you don't know what you're dealing with, you're just like, what do they call those? Label whores? When you just a person who just reads a bunch of labels and you're like, oh, it doesn't have this, it has this, it has this. Okay, it must be good. But you don't need none of that. You need something. You need to go get you some lentils, ma'am. Right. And you need you some collard greens because that's the vitamins that you need, the potassium that you need. You need some bananas. You need to put them in your smoothies, or you don't need another banana because your sugar is too high. Like, and a lot of people think they're going to live off of fruit bowls. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Salads and fruit bowls. That's it. That's all. You just gonna do salads and fruit bowls.
Yep.
So you ain't gonna have no butternut squash. You ain't gonna have no kiwis. You ain't gonna you just go. Oh,
that's it.
Okay, no, not a chickpea, not a black bean.
And I think if you cook or you're interested in eating, even if in those substitutes, like for me, I like the substitutes. They're cool. I'm interested in learning, and I'm already just kind of learning more by connecting myself with places that have that type of content to give information. You know, I would love to read more books. I would love to get more educated, but every time I've had Beyond Meat burger, which is good, I've been like, I could have a black bean burger. It doesn't have to be this, you know? So I've had amazing black bean burgers that are really good. I've had things where I've seen what those tofu substitutes are. Like, I could have done a mushroom. I didn't have to do that. So I think just being more connected to the purpose, I think we suck, and unfortunately our health is something we take for granted in an everyday way. But I think it's how we approach having knowledge and acting like we don't have it, you know, and what we do, and like you said, the mentality of it. It becomes, if somebody hears that, I know there's somebody that will hear that and be like, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. Like, this fork is not going to kill me. No, it's not.
That's what they say. Until their mom goes to the doctor and he says, if we'd have caught this 6 months ago, we could have saved her.
Or just even when you're hearing
when you pre-diabetic and now you a person. I know a guy who literally has an insulin pump in his body. Like, it's attached to him. He wears it every day because he has to have his insulin pumped in him. He changes this little cartridge every morning and it gives him the insulin that he needs every day. And he's like 36. Everybody thinks that you're old when it happens. Everybody thinks that you're overweight when it happens. You're just unhealthy.
Yeah.
You don't have to be visibly you know, out of shape or visibly sick for people to know. People, when they go to the doctor and they finding out, it's usually already in there. It's in that thing. Because the body has been sending you signals this whole time. You just decided that this was an extreme enough signal for you to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And here we are.
You're ignoring those back pains. You're ignoring other things. And I'm going to be honest, like, I haven't at this point, and maybe I'll be able to come back and get more research. I'm really curious because even on the diet effects to diseases like dementia that my dad had, because there's points of time that who knows what could have played a trigger with a better diet and what it could have done and what it was impacting. Yeah, it got bad, but he had dementia, which was considered early for his age too at that point. So what impact, how vastly it took effect had to just even simply how he was eating, what more time we could have had, what more could have been done. I think And for me, that's what I connect to. Cancer is in my family.
Right. I don't know anybody that cancer is not in their family.
Like, heavy. It's close. It's not,
cancer is
you know, that cousin over there. No, it's like, I have lost multiple aunts to cancer. Right. I have lost multiple aunts to diabetes. I've lost relatives that had
blood pressure,
legs cut off,
amputated.
Yeah, like this is real. And they weren't talking about Beyond Burgers at that time. Right. That wasn't even on their palate to even be able to talk about. So if I know better and I'm capable and I can cook pretty well for myself,
she throws it.
Why not? You know, like what?
You know, the other thing I find is interesting is that cancer, to a lot of people, for a long time was connected to cigarettes.
Yes.
But that's lung cancer.
Right.
There's a million types of cancer.
Oh, so many.
And people assume that if you have cancer, you were around somebody that smoked, you smoked yourself, or you was in some place that had toxic fumes in there, or asbestos or something like that. And that doesn't have to be the case. But for cancer to be as prevalent and prominent as it is, to hear people still talk about it as if it isn't as big as it is. And like I said, like when you were saying that, and I was like, I don't know anybody that cancer is not in their family. Literally, I don't know anybody that cancer is not in their family. And it's like, I know people whose family member beat cancer and they didn't pass from it. But I don't know anybody whose family didn't have cancer in it at all.
Right.
So if I was to give a gem about being a vegan, it would be, do it for you. If you're a parent, you would make sure that your kid has everything that they need. And one of those things that the kid needs is you. And for you to stick around as long as you can, for them to be as healthy as they can be also. And I'm not telling people that they have to be vegan and that if you're not, that you're gonna die. Far from it.
We're all gonna die.
Exactly. What I'm telling you is this. You can be a vegan and you can get sick and you die. You can be a vegetarian and you can get sick and you die. You can be neither and you can get sick and you die. What I'm telling you is this. If you know better and you don't do better, the choices that you have made could have an adverse effect. Period. I'm not telling you that, I'm telling you from my experience, it made me healthier. From the people that I've helped, it's made them healthier. That doesn't mean it's going to be your experience, but that also doesn't mean that you won't live a healthy, beautiful life. But if you have a choice in deciding, not having high blood pressure, not having hypertension, not having diabetes, and all of these things are based off of your eating. Like the things that I just said, they don't come from smoking cigarettes.
Right.
And different types of cancers don't come from smoking cigarettes. Right. So if you want to make healthier decisions, you have to decide in your head and make a decision. And that's that. Like when you decide you ain't going out with your friends, you make that decision and that's that. You done put your pajamas on and you started watching Netflix and just like that. Make a decision and do it. And if you mess up, start over. Nothing wrong with starting over. You're not a failure. You're human. And move forward.
Yeah.
Because that's what I had to do. And I would say that it's not as terrible as you think. There are a lot of delicious foods out here. Anything you can eat with meat in it, you can eat it without meat. I can't think of one except for like if you want a roasted chicken, you probably can't get.
You can't get a roasted chicken because it is chicken.
And here's the other thing: if you think you're gonna live off of supplements, you're going to be sadly mistaken. And if you eat something that is a substitute, I need people to stop thinking it's going to taste like what it's substituting. Y'all kill me with that. This don't taste like cheese. Because it's not cheese. This doesn't taste like chicken because it's not chicken. It's supposed to give you the mouth feel. It's supposed to feel like it in your mouth. It's supposed to taste like it with the seasonings. It's not supposed. There's no way an oyster is going to taste like a piece of chicken. I mean, oyster mushroom is going to taste like a piece of chicken. It is going to have a comparable texture,
right,
and flavoring, but you're gonna know it's a mushroom. Okay, you're gonna know when you eat cashew milk. When you drink it, you know it's not 2%.
Yes.
When you have cashew cheese, you know it's not dairy cheese, but it's still delicious. So if you go into it in your mind saying to yourself, I'm aware that this is not cheese. And then you say to yourself, this is some pretty damn good cheese to be a cashew.
Right.
That's how you got to think of it. This is some pretty damn good mushrooms to be a mushroom. And move forward. What's yours?
I think people have to stop excusing health and things beyond your control. I think people need to be more accountable for what's in their hands to take control of their own lives.
Right.
I think you cannot control situations where your kid was at school and they got a virus and came home and you caught a virus.
Right.
Out of my hands. I cannot control that.
Right.
But the more I grow and seek to be better, it makes me reflect and it makes me confused on how we're in this day and age to have more accessibility to knowledge that we just refuse to take on.
Absolutely.
And I think we have to stop becoming so sensitive and so offended of individual choices that we don't absorb knowledge. You get to do whatever you want to do. But if you're sitting there and you're waiting to be told you need to make decisions that were always in your hand to do, you're just doing an injustice to yourself. You're just putting yourself in situations that I feel like you do not have to be in. And for me personally, being a mother makes me want to do better. And that's part of the connection and wanting to do better too, is because I want to be able to educate my children because they do have access to all these choices that I didn't have at their age as well.
Absolutely.
So if I can begin to introduce new things and palettes and plant that seed and let that grow, that they have other options. I didn't have no option. I was gonna get my pork chop, my peas, my standard meal palette. That's what it was.
Macaroni and cheese.
That's what it was. That's when we weren't talking about it. If I can find a way to produce variations that they don't have to wait to get my age, that's the first time they're trying something different and something new and learning different things about their health and knowing what they can do with that knowledge, I think that's injustice. So I just think you have to mentally stop excusing why you're not doing better. Period. Whatever that looks like to do better for you, I think we have to take it on. There are too many of my peers in their 30s that are dying and having major surgeries and taking pills out of necessity.
Yep.
That's too many of my peers' story, personally. And for me now, it's not just weight. It used to be weight. It used to be maybe I want to fit in my clothes different. And this decision now is I really just want to unlearn and unpack my way of thinking. And that's been my goal for the year. I want to change the way I eat. Not even just what I eat, the way I eat. The portion size, the amount. I want to know that I have my fiber that I need.
Right.
I do not want to wait to have to go get poked on and tested on to know that I don't have any potassium that I should have had. I want to be more in tune with what I put in my body, and because I do love food, I know what tastes good to go get it. So if I'm more knowledgeable, let's go mix it up and make it happen.
Right.
And I just want to grow to learn more so I can do what's in my hands to be able to do, because there are going to be some things I have no control over.
Right.
This I do. I definitely can control what I eat.
Right.
I definitely have a say so in knowing my body and what I'm putting into it. And if, you know, I can do anything that's going to contribute to the quality of life that I have, and I have a say so in it, right. I want to take it. That's mine.
I'm proud of you.
Oh,
tell your fiance I'm proud of him too, because he gonna make you stay on it, baby.
He boy, we not letting up, okay?
Listen, he said I'm on your heels, okay, and I'm with it. Go, fiance, go. We in this thing, 2020, baby.
Gang gang.